Hello everybody. Welcome to a surprise live stream on a Thursday afternoon. The weather's kind of so felt like a good time to kind of hang out with everybody and just sort of chill. I think when Easter comes along, we're thinking like, hey, the spring's here, woohoo, you know, but then when it doesn't look like spring, and I know like a lot of Canada's getting absolutely hammered with like really wintry weather right now, so no thanks. Anyway, let's channel some warm spring vibes here and hang out in the crochet for, I don't know, an hour or so. This whole week's been kind of neat. I don't know whether it's because it's the spring or it's just sort of something moving through the crafty community, but I feel like there's been, I've had a lot more conversations this week around things like nostalgic crafting and lace making and old vintage, even older vintage crafts, conversations about buttons and accessories and notions, and just I don't know whether it's just that little hint of spring, and when the spring comes around you kind of get a little bit excited to sort of, I don't know, put down the heavier yarns and start thinking about lighter things or different kinds of crafts. Whatever the case may be, it got me thinking about buttons. I've been kind of thinking about crochet covered buttons now for about 24 hours solid. I had a conversation about crochet covered buttons at the Etsy shop last night with someone, and it made me think about some of the crochet covered button projects and button crochet thread projects that we've done here on the show before. And it's been a while since we kind of did anything like that, or I did anything like that. And I've been thinking all night, you know, I think I want to, do you guys remember Friendly Plastic? Did any of you ever get into the Friendly Plastic craze? That was like the 90s, I'm going to say. It was basically just like strips of different like plastic that you could cut up and like heat up and then mold into things. I got absolutely obsessed with it. I probably still have some of the Friendly Plastic beads that I made. But they were selling a lot of fun notions to go with the Friendly Plastic. So like you could, you know, make stuff and then add it to things. And one of the things that I have that I haven't done anything with yet, it's like one of those old-fashioned brooches, cameos, you know, with the actual head kind of carved into something. It was very popular in the Victorian times. And I think it kind of came back again in the 80s. And then there were like sort of modern artistic takes on it in the 90s. Really going back here. Anyway, I have one of those and it sits in my sewing basket and I've never done anything with it. And I got thinking about it last night along with all this button chatter, and I thought, you know, I think I want to just play with my thread, go through my crazy button collection, and maybe crochet over some buttons and kind of pad up that stock of things. I like to have unique buttons to put on clothing or hats. Sometimes if I have a piece of clothing that just needs a bit of a refresher, I find sometimes changing the buttons is a way to do it. And on big sweaters or coats, having big crochet covered buttons just looks really cool. So I'm kind of thinking about swapping out some of the buttons on some of my existing big sweaters and big jackets. So I'm going to crochet over some buttons today while we sit and have a little bit of a chat. Brewed myself a nice hot cup of tea. Mr. InStitches is, I don't know if he's got, I don't think you've got any tea, do you, sweetie?
Hello, everybody. I don't have tea. I still have a little coffee left.
I see Jessica Rabbit in the chat. Hello, Jessica. A member for 28 months with a membership milestone. Thank you very much. Says, hello, lovely Jayda. I can't wait to see what we get up to today. And it's so nice to see your face live again. Well, thank you very much. I thought we would look through my button collection, look through my thread, pair a couple together, and I would just quickly crochet over top of it. We have a very basic, simple crochet covered button tutorial that we did back in 2017 now. Oh my gosh. I linked it in the description box before we got going. So if you want to sort of see a reference to what I'm doing, that's there for you. I thought we would try to just sort of do this. This isn't really going to be like a, hey, you know, watch what I'm doing. I'm going to show you what I'm up to, but I just thought we'd have more fun kind of pairing up threads and pairing up buttons and just sort of seeing what comes out of it. Because I've got a lot of different, like I kind of reached for my crochet thread. Remember in the last, I think it was Monday, we were talking about making curtains. So I've been thinking about my thread more and more all week. Ding ding. Victoria upgraded to Vicuña. Why, thank you. Hello, Victoria. Welcome to the Vicuña level. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh. And Melissa has gifted a membership. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much. Who won it? Who won it? M. Congratulations, M. Welcome to the family. Yeah. So, gonna go through some of my thread. You've probably seen my thread collection if you watched that thread collection video we did a little while ago. But I have quite a big bucket of it here. Like, a big bucket of it here. And I've got some that I haven't even gotten into yet, like this pink sort of self-striping thread. That's, I think everything I've got in the collection is like a size 3, a 5, a 10, and I might have 180, which is like sewing thread. It's so thin. But I've got a lot of stuff that kind of falls into that category, and I just thought I would grab some and pair them up with a button. I've got some hooks here. So depending on the thread I end up going with, I've got 3 different steel hook sizes, and look at this. So there's, you know, your regular hook. That's a 2.25 millimeter, so it's not super tiny or sharp. But these guys have covers on them because they are like ice picks. So the Clover Amour tiny hooks come with little lids, which is really nice, so that if you put your hand into the receptacle that you keep your hooks in, you don't go, yeah, you know, and like stab yourself. So I've got 1.75 millimeter and 1.5 millimeter in addition to my regular 2.25 millimeter. So pretty small. These are all nice sizes I find with the 3, the 5, or the 10 weight threads. Obviously, the bigger the hook, the larger the stitch, and the more comfortable it kind of works with the slightly thicker thread, but we'll just see where today goes.
Can you use embroidery thread?
Absolutely. I would consider embroidery thread. Can I reach it from here? No, I don't think I can. Embroidery thread is like a 3, maybe a 5. I would put embroidery thread without splitting it. You know how sometimes you split embroidery thread to do like your cross stitch or whatever? Without splitting your floss, I'd say floss is like a 5 weight crochet thread category. I use it to crochet. I've crocheted quite a lot with floss. You have to do small projects though if you just want to use the one little skein that the floss comes in. You don't want to tie anything extra in, but there's so many like small crochet projects you can do with all the floss in a single skein, like covering a button. I have several buttons. I've got 2 big jars of them here. I'm kind of more interested in the bigger buttons, like these guys. So one of the things I love to do is go to thrift stores and look for buttons. Some people just have collections of buttons that they send to the secondhand stores. And I'm always on the lookout for buttons. I love the big buttons from the 80s, the buttons from the 70s, the early 90s, the big plastic ones. Sometimes they're what I would consider kind of on the ugly side, like the color isn't so great, the shape's kind of weird. But I like them big, and especially if they're smooth and they're lightweight, because these are great for crocheting over top of. And then they look really neat. You can combine them with a different crochet thread and they don't look, in my opinion, quite as ugly. I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if I call a button ugly, don't be upset. Like for example, this one's pretty in some ways, but ugly in others, I feel. But I do like the kind of weird texture of it and the color. And it's kind of strangely inverted. So like that's one that I would probably enjoy covering. And in the video, we talk about how depending on how you want your crochet covered button to look or act, or maybe what job it's doing, you don't necessarily have to have the front proper side of the button facing out. You might prefer the back of the button just because like it's smooth or like the color's better, or maybe it's not scratched or something. Plastic buttons do get scratched, especially if they're in a busy place on a coat or something. Like these ones are, does that not say 80s to you? Like that is just so 80s. I can practically hear like a movie soundtrack playing in my head. But those ones they're kind of shiny, so that might be kind of neat to crochet like a really open work over. These are a little smaller than 1 inch, but I think I might try one of these today. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see where everything goes. Like this one. This one's, I think that's ugly. That's a plastic, blue-ish, like there's a bit of marbling kind of look to it. I don't know how clearly you guys can see these. But I don't find that very attractive. But this is a great button for crocheting over because it's got the post at the back. So you can completely cover the button and have the little post sitting out the back, and like there's no problem sewing it on. So you can crochet over any button, like the traditional one with the holes in it, but the ones with the shank at the back, those are really, really good to crochet with. So I think I might try that one too. I've literally got so many here that I just dropped. There's a big pink one. That one used to be fluorescent pink. It was on a jogging suit I wore in grade 3. That's how long I keep stuff. So that button is probably older than some of you out there, but it used to be bright, screaming neon pink, and it is faded. So now it's just like a sad little memory of itself, but still, it's a perfectly round, smooth plastic button. So if I cover that, I might actually wait until I have some like neon crochet thread. Has anyone ever seen neon crochet thread? Like bright 80s neon colors? I don't think I've ever seen any neon crochet thread. Anybody? I just realized that I would love some neon crochet thread. I suppose I could use floss. But the nice thing about crochet thread is it's usually mercerized, so it's kind of strong. Yeah. Yep. Yes, you have? Where? Where can I get it? Sherry has some? Okay, where? Where do I get some? Susan Bates hooks. Oh, that's Amanda talked about hooks. Yes, you've seen neon crochet thread. Well, where? Where do I get it? I have to get some. Okay, that's what I'm doing this afternoon after the stream. I'm going to go looking for neon crochet thread. Because if I could get pink neon pink and cover that button, that would be just like the best trip down nostalgia lane for me. Stay tuned. That's the plan. Oh my gosh. So I'm putting that aside. That one's going to get the neon thread treatment as soon as I find some. 7. Google? Yeah, I'll look through it. They have metallic thread too. I'm going to have to hit up my usual Walmart or Amazon, really? You found some at Michael's. Aunt Lydia makes a multi, but I haven't seen neon. Yeah. I've got a lot of Aunt Lydia. That's a lot of the thread that I get. Okay, let's jump into some. I'm going to start with this extremely ugly, flat, boring button. And we're going to pick a color to go over top of it. Now, this is the fun part about designing. I could really lean into this color and say, okay, I see the 70s. Remember that 70s Harvest Gold? I could really lean into it and crochet over top of it with this very vintage kind of like self-striping orangey feel. And that would give it a real like I'm really leaning into the 70s, you know, and that would be kind of neat because sometimes you want like a super vintage looking button. So I could really lean into it and use that. So I like that. I could use this is an antique thread color. It's like an antique white. I could crochet over it with the antique white and it would make it look even older. So kind of like it would give it almost a 1950s, an early 60s, maybe a late 40s kind of look, maybe mid 50s. Something that maybe your great-grandmother or my great-grandmother may have crocheted and put in her button bin. So I kind of like that. So this could be like this could give that button a real vintage look as opposed to like a retro 70s look. So vintage is really old, retro is 70s. I could freshen it up by using white. So just crocheting over top of it, making the white thread do all the talking, and you're just going to sort of see the hint of a plastic button through it. I don't think I like that look as much because I feel like looks a bit dated maybe. And I've got green. So I could go completely off the color, use the green. Jessica Rabbit is sending me links helpfully. Thank you. I could use the green and work over top of that, and it would give it, it would just really change the feel of the button completely. It might make it look a little bit more like the garden or something. It would play more into the green and less into that color. So I guess what I want to know is, what are we thinking? Are we going to do a poll? Yeah, I think Catherine might be right. Mister, can we do a poll? So this is what I'm going to make these 3. So let's do these 3. It's down to these 3. We're going to go retro 70s. That's with the orange. we're going to go vintage, like 50s, with the antique white thread, or just kind of fresh and modern. We're going to mix the green with that kind of yellowy gold button. And once again, this is like just a boring plastic button. It's very thin. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't snapped. Like, that's a thin button. That's one of the thinnest buttons I've got. But I really feel like
repeat those colors?
It's a nice jumping off point. Sure, sweetie. So, retro 70s with the orange. Vintage 50s with the antique white. And modern with the green. I feel like that's kind of modern. And for the record, I'm pretty sure this is like an 80s button.
So it was the yellow was the 70s?
Yep.
And the vintage was the off-white?
Yep. Regina says Amazon has neon crochet thread. Oh, I'm going to get some neon crochet thread. I can't believe I haven't gone looking for that yet. But you know what? This is why. This whole week has had me thinking about nostalgic crafts and old, just, you know, kind of mixing all these old thoughts together. So maybe that's why I haven't thought to go looking for neon thread yet. Neon thread. I love that. It's kind of like a classic old vintage kind of crochet thread, but playing into a way more modern, fun, and funky kind of theme. So, all right, so these are the three options. You guys can take part in Mister's poll. Once we get about 100 votes or say, we'll call it. These are all size 10 threads. So I'm going to use, regardless of which color wins, I'm going to use...
So I put yellow in the retro 70s, but that's yellow/orange,
Yeah,
correct?
It's yellowy orange.
Okay. We have 97 votes so far.
Wow, awesome. Okay.
So a few more minutes.
I'm going to use... Don't want to drop that. 1.5. Yeah, I'm going to go for the 1.75. Okay, so I'm going to use my 1.75 millimeter hook. It's also known as a number 0. It's a steel hook, very, very small. But really, if you were going to do this and use the 10 millimeter or the size 10 crochet thread, I like to say whatever hook is comfortable for you, because like this is so tiny, you probably can't even see that. But it's pretty small. I'm going to have to put my glasses on to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use, so that's the 1.75, and all of the threads are a size 10 in this color category. Like I said, I have like 180 in the pack, or in my bin, but I don't really use it for anything. It is super, super thin. It's like sewing thread, but that's a really pretty color too. Okay. So, make sure my little kerchief doesn't want to fall off here. How's the poll, sir?
We have 112 votes.
Perfect. Call it.
Send it over.
Rob is asking about crochet thread sizes. Yes, so all you need to remember about crochet thread versus yarn is that yarn size category goes 1 to whatever it is now, 7, and that means from small to big. The thread goes in the opposite direction. So the bigger the number in crochet thread, the tinier it is. So a 1 in crochet thread world is basically equivalent to a 1 in yarn. A 1 yarn is like a sock weight. A 1 crochet thread is about the same size as a sock weight. 3, 5, the crochet thread category of 3 or 5, it's also known sometimes as the fashion thread. It's pretty close in size. There's a small variance between the two, but they're relatively close, and it's my favorite crochet thread size to use because it's just a bit smaller and thinner than a sock weight yarn, and I don't feel like I'm going quite as blind trying to use it. 10 though is what I have the most of, because that's what I think most people get. Size 10 thread is like what most people make tablecloths and curtains and stuff out of. I heard the ding ding, mister. What am I looking for? Oh, the poll, of course. Doy. Retro 70s, 50%. Vintage 50s off-white, 25%. Modern green, 23%. So, the Retro 70s button has won it. All right, here we go. I'm good with that. We will use this retro yellowy orange. It's mostly orange. It kind of fades to like an off, very, 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 very light yellow. It doesn't quite go white, which I kind of like.
If you put it a little closer to the camera, we can all get a real good look at it. You can come right up to the camera. Yeah.
Well, I sip my tea.
It looks like there's about 3 or 4 shades of yellow in there.
Yeah, it goes orange, pretty strong orange, to like a very, very light yellow.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I really like it. Anyway, okay, so very, very simple. I'm going to pretty much follow the crochet covered button pattern that we had, that we used for the original tutorial. If any of you are interested, we actually have that pattern in our shop too. It's in the bargain shop section. It's just a couple bucks. So if you feel like you'd like to add it to your collection, it's there, but don't worry about it. We're going to go through it. And like I said, there's a tutorial linked in the description box down below as well. So here we go. I'm going to start with a slip knot. I feel like my kerchief wants to fall right off. Is that what's happening? It's just me. It's just me. All right. So I'm going to start with a slip knot. I'm going to chain 6, I guess. 6. Let me chain 6 to start. So the chained ring is what the first row of stitches is built around, but depending on the size of the button you use and how much of that button you want to see, you can adjust the chained ring. So I've got 6 here. I'm going to join to make a ring at the first. So there we go. Nice and tiny. Oh, working small is so much fun. And this is what I'm covering. So I might make it a little bit bigger. Will I make it bigger? Designing as I go. You know what? I think I like that. I'm going to stick with the 6. Okay. So I've got tables and stuff all over the place here. All right. I'm going to keep this on my lap. I'm going to use the treble crochet stitch. You could use an extended double crochet stitch here if you wanted to, because it doesn't really matter. But the nice thing about when you're working really, really tiny, the first few rows are the hardest because there's like nothing to grab. I feel like I struggle the most at the very beginning. But the upside is that when you're trying to make a really tall stitch, like a treble or a double treble or a triple treble crochet, you're not really, it's not that tall because everything's so small. So I'm going to chain 4 to begin. That's going to count as a treble crochet. I'm really going to take my time here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to crochet into the ring that I made. So just like you were starting a granny square. I'm going to try and work over top of that little short tail. And I'm going to treble crochet into the ring. I'll get a few stitches in and then I'll just pause and show you what I'm up to. And then I want to make it look like a wagon wheel. So you know where you have like a couple spokes and then a big space and a couple spokes and then a big space. So I'm going to achieve that by chaining 3 and then doing treble, treble, chain 3, treble, treble, chain 3, treble, treble, all into that ring to get like a wagon wheel kind of look going. Ding, ding. Hello, Jessica. Thank you for picking up a pattern. So I'm going to use the treble crochet, but like I said, you can use the extended double crochet if you're doing this. In a pattern this simplistic, it's okay. You can, you know, use whichever tall stitches you like. Even taller stitches might be kind of fun. I'm gonna compare it against my big button here. Oh no, that's nice. Oh, gee. Good choice, guys. I think this is going to be really nice. Let me get a few more stitches in, then I'll show you. Okay, so treble, treble, chain 3, treble, treble. 1, 2, 3, 2 trebles. I want 6 sets of treble crochets. 6 sets of trebles. There we go. couple more stitches and then I'll show you. This is so tiny, but it's already getting bigger and easier to manage. I like tall stitches, but when I'm working with thread, I really like the tall stitches because I feel like I'm really crocheting, and they're not nearly as difficult or tricky to play with when your thread is so small. All right, I've got one more set to do. So 3 chains, 2 trebles, 3 chains, 2 trebles, all worked into that ring. I think that was the right choice for ring size. And then I want to finish after my last 2 trebles with 3 more chains, and then I will join to the top of the chain 4 that began, and I will show you guys what is happening here. So let me just get that out of the way. Okay, so pulling up on my little loop so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. It is so small. It's a little tiny wagon wheel. So little chain 6 ring to begin. Chain 4 counts as a treble, treble into the ring, and then chain 3, treble, treble, chain 3, treble, treble, all the way around until I've got 6 sets of trebles, and they're all separated by chain 3s. So it looks like a little wagon wheel, and then it's going to look like this on top of that button. Have I got that regular? Yeah. So I like that. The little bit of that harvest yellow is going to show through, but you're going to get like this kind of fun vintage throwback look of that wagon wheel. So now I just want to make it a little bit thicker. Here we go. I'm going to use the half double crochet stitch now. So I'm going to chain 2. That will count as a half double crochet stitch. And I'll weave that in later. You know what? I'm going to pause and weave in that little tail before I get too far along. I've got the little tail that started it. So I'm going to pull out a needle, and I got a decent sized needle here. There, that'll do. I'm going to just weave that tail in before I get too much further along because I don't want to have to fiddle with it later. Lisa, thank you for picking up a pattern. I love crocheting over all kinds of things. I like crocheting over beads. One of the things I want to try this year, hold me to it, is I want to crochet lace over glass Christmas baubles, maybe plastic because I'm a klutz. But I love the way those look, and I haven't done any of those yet. I'd like to do that this year. I know nobody's probably thinking about Christmas, but I'm always thinking about Christmas decorations, so I'd like to try that this year. I went through a phase where I was crocheting over top of rocks to use as like door stops around the house. I like those. They look cute. They also look really cute in the garden. If you're like, if you've planted things and they're not up yet, you can put a pretty crochet covered rock somewhere nearby so you know like that area has been planted. Okay, just get this last little bit woven in here. Oh, this is so small. Small. All right. Put needle back. Do not lose needle. Do not step on needle later. Do not let husband step on needle. Okay. Hey, did it come out? It came out. All right. That's it. Give me the super tiny crochet hook. I'm just going to weave it in with the crochet hook. If you're, another nice thing about the little tiny crochet hooks is that you can weave in tails with them because they're so small they fit underneath all the loops. There we go. Okay. That's that. Back on track. So I chained 2 to begin row number 2. That's going to count as a half double crochet. And I'm going to half double crochet in each stitch, so each treble, and each chain. But I think rather than crocheting into the individual chains, Bethany, thank you. Thank you for picking up a couple patterns. I think I'm just going to work 3 half double crochets into each chain 3 space. Easy peasy, right? So half double crochet into the top of the next treble, and then 3 half double crochet in each chain 3 space, and a half double crochet in the top of each treble. That will do. That'll do quite nicely. Okay. Yeah, see now it's a little bit bigger. So I've got sort of something I can kind of hold the whole thing between my thumb and forefinger, so it's a little now easier to kind of manage. It's just keeping my tension, I find, that I have to readjust the way I think when I'm working. It's not so much the hooks. If you're using ergonomic hooks like these ones, going down to a tiny little hook size doesn't change the feel in your hook hand, but it certainly changes like the end work. Kind of makes your brain twist a little bit. And then I find, because of the way I feed my yarn, I have to tell this hand to like relax a little bit, because now it's so small. My intention is to like hold it really, really tightly, and I don't want to do that. So ding ding. Gail, thank you for picking up a pattern. Everybody's still, yeah, Krista. You said one of your nurses uses tiny hooks to weave in their tails. I went through a phase where I only used hooks, but then once I found the wool needles with the big loopy eye, I just found that so much easier. But when it comes back down to super tiny little things like this, fiddling with a needle, like an old-fashioned sewing needle, sometimes I just can't be bothered. So getting an even smaller hook, I like that for this sort of project. How many have I done here? 1, 2. So yeah, half double crochet in the top of each stitch, 3 half double crochet in each chain 3 space. And that makes a nice open wagon wheel look, which will, not that I really want to show off the color of this button, but because we opted for a thread that is in concert with the color of the button will help the thread sort of look even more vintage than it really is. So I kind of like that. Come here, you little thing. See, now I have to think. I just went to the eye doctor, and I was told that I needed a new prescription. Aging. So I'm waiting on my new glasses. I'm going to, not that I feel like I need to like hold the thing way far away from me, but definitely I'm going to need a stronger prescription to see closer up. I blame crochet. Okay, so there's oh, that, yeah, this is looking good. Okay, so 3 half double crochet in each chain 3 space, a half double crochet in the top of each treble. That's 30 stitches all the way around. And I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that I started with, because that does count. And this is so cute. I just love the simplicity of the wagon wheel start to so many things. So that's what it looks like. I think this is good. I think this is good. And then that almost completely covers the top of the button. So with a button that big, I could probably have done double crochets all the way around too, as opposed to half double crochets, but I want this to be pretty tight. So in the original pattern, I immediately went to to closing it in. So I go half double crochet, 2 stitches together, half double crochet, 2 stitches together. That's what I do with the original pattern. I'm just thinking, because this is a slightly bigger button, that I might do another row of single crochet all the way around and then start decreasing with the half double crochet. So I think I'm going to do that. This is how you adjust a simple pattern like this to cover a button of different sizes. So for example, this is probably about a 1.25 inches in diameter, or maybe like 2.75 or maybe 3 centimeters in diameter. And usually in that previous pattern, I was using buttons that were a bit smaller than that. So like 1 inch to maybe 3/4 inch in diameter, maybe like 1.5 centimeters. So this one's a little bit bigger. But all you want to do is just make you just want to create a circular thing that comfortably covers the top of the button. And then remember that depending on the thickness of the button, your crochet has to kind of come around the curve too. It's like making a beret for a little button. So I think I'm going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around, just to give it a little something extra. Otherwise, maybe double crocheting in each stitch all the way around would have been better for the second row, but it's flexible enough that I'll be able to stick this thing. And this is a very skinny button. So I am just going to break from the original pattern a little bit, quickly single crochet in every stitch all the way around. So I'm going to chain one, single crochet in the same place, and then single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I'm not changing the stitch count. I'm just adding a quick row of single crochet. So I'll still have 30 stitches. But I'm just adding a little bit more width to my circle. So I'm fiddling with it as I go. And when you're doing something small like this, like crocheting over a bead or crocheting over a button, first of all, these are projects that are so small, it's kind of fun to just try something, try anything, try any kind of start, try a granny square start and see what that looks like, you know, over top of a button. I might try that actually in a second. We shall see. But this little row of single crochet will just make the circle a little bit wider, and then I'll start decreasing. Plus, it lets me use a little bit more of this self-striping vintage kind of covered yarn. So I'll get different colors working here. Helps show off that orange a little bit more. I like that. I like that very much. Mister, I see you in the chat.
Yes, I'm here. Everyone thinks I'm being quiet today.
It's the weather.
Yeah,
It's
overcast. It's still cool.
It's like meh. Okay. So join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. There we go. It's a little bit bigger now. I think this was a good choice. So it now very much covers the top of that button.
You can come even closer. Very nice. What size hook are you using again?
It's got a bit of a swirl. Sorry, sweetie, what?
What size hook?
This is a, first of all, thank you, Maria. Thanks for picking up a pattern. This is a 1.75 millimeter hook. It's also known as a zero. Very small. When you get to this level, like you're playing with, like this is a size 10 crochet thread, you use the hook that you are most comfortable with, that you can get a nice looking stitch with. Things like covered buttons, crocheting over beads or stones or whatever you might be up to, it's not really gauge specific. This comes down to more you playing with the yarn, playing with the thread, being comfortable with the hook size. When you start working smaller and smaller and smaller, I think tension really starts to become, it really starts to act differently than it does when we are crocheting with yarn. That's been my experience. Okay, so let's go. I am now going to work the row of decrease. I'm going to start to decrease. I'm going to go back to half double crochet. So I'm going to chain two. The chain two will count as a half double crochet. And then I'm going to work half double crochet, 2 stitches together. Half double crochet, two stitches together. So I'm going to go from 30 stitches all the way around down to 20. So I'll have 10 decreases altogether in this row. And I yarn over and pick up a loop. I yarn over and pick up a loop, and then I don't yarn over when I pick up the loop in the next stitch, just because I feel like that makes a slightly less dense half double crochet 2 stitches together. But you can do whatever you want. I've always kind of done half double crochets like that, or half double crochet 2 stitches together like that. I always kind of create the half double crochet in the first stitch, and then I kind of make the next one almost like a single crochet. Yeah, it works for me. It doesn't change the size or the height of it. It just maybe makes it a little thinner, a little less dense. Is everybody looking forward to Calendar Blanket Friday tomorrow? Oh my gosh, that was such an old lady thing. Look over the top of my glasses. Yay!
I guess we better order you those new glasses.
I gotta get those. Yes, I need to order them still, don't I?
Yes.
So...
You've picked them out. You just have to give the final stamp of approval.
Yes. I've picked out. I'm even getting
Actually, I picked them out.
You picked them out.
I'm the genius.
Yes.
Glasses picker.
I'm getting new frames. I might actually get these ones reframed as well because I do like these glasses. They're nice and small, but I do like the idea of getting new frames. That's gonna
Doesn't hurt to have two pairs.
No. Okay, so
everyone's excited for the new square tomorrow. It's a coming. For those public service announcement, for those of you that didn't see the message last week, we're going to be delaying our Friday videos to 1 p.m. Eastern.
yes.
So we're still doing Friday video. It's the regular time was around 11 a.m.
It was around 11.
It's going to be 1 p.m. So just a couple hours later.
Yeah,
That's the new time.
Yeah, so 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow for the video. And for all of the Friday videos going forward, we're going to aim for 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon.
Give or take 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, give or take 10 minutes.
Half an hour.
And if there's ever like a big issue, like we've had a power outage or something, we'll always leave a note in the community tab. So if you're ever going, something seems amiss, pop over to the community tab, and we've usually left a note there. Oh my goodness. Kiki, thank you. Thanks for picking up a couple patterns, Kiki. I really do need those new glasses. I can't see anything.
Obviously.
I've started to close it in so it's smaller, and now with that first row of decreasing done, I need to slip my button in. So I want the front button, the front of the button, or at least the side of the button that I want facing out. That's the part that goes in facing row 1. So I'm going to pull up on my yarn or my thread here so that I don't run the risk of undoing it. And I'm going to slip my button in, and it's like slipping on a really tight slipper. So let's see if I can do this. Okay. Ah, that is so satisfying. All right. Ba-ba!
Nice and close. Closer.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Now we can get a real good look at it.
So that's the front.
Looks fantastic.
And that's the back so far.
It's like a little slipper.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice.
I just love this. It's like you take an old... First of all, button hunting at secondhand stores. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much. And then even if they're like not the greatest buttons, like, you know how you can get sometimes a bag of buttons and you get some nice ones in there and some others that are kind of duds? Well, turn your duds into something pretty. I want to have a whole bunch of these, and I think I'm going to experiment with like different crochet designs in the center. Because I want to make an interesting brooch or an interesting kind of cameo for when I have like my shirts sort of like all buttoned up instead of wearing like a tie or something. I really love that look from the Victorian era. And I just thought like having a really neat crocheted button there would be kind of fun. I don't know. It's just something that's been playing in my head. Hello, Masha. Masha's been a member for 1 month. Thank you. Masha says, loving this. How is the Mister's new computer and office coming?
It's not coming at all.
It's not coming at all.
We have the paint and the supplies.
Yes, we are ready to paint the office.
We have some stuff ready on our wish list.
Yes. We need.
We're aiming for spring summer because we want to be able to open windows and run things in and out of the house, and
Yes.
it's not quite the right time of year yet.
Yeah, if you're gonna paint, it's nice to have all the windows open, and it's a little
We
too
got to
chilly for
move all
that.
kinds of furniture, and we have to paint furniture.
And we're still saving up for the computer. So I'm gonna now single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. And I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together the usual way that I do it. So not using those front facing loops, kind of like how I would, I've started doing that with the amigurumi, that new invisible decrease that you guys pointed out to me a couple months ago. I'm going to go back to the original way of doing it because this is so small, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the actual stitches, and with the thread, it's just not going to be terribly, like, it's not going to be thick or anything. Plus, I kind of like seeing the gaps between the stitches. Unlike an amigurumi where you don't want any gaps, when you're doing something like this, you kind of want to see the button through it. So I don't mind the gaps in the stitches for this. So I'm crocheting 2 stitches together, single crocheting 2 stitches together all the way around, just to kind of close it in. And that'll bring me down to about 10 stitches, but honestly, stitch count isn't super important either in a project like this. You're just kind of going for a look. Make it work. And these little projects are nice because they're sometimes about all I can handle when I'm working this small. Just some short little project. Patience. This is teaching me patience. I have a shortage of that sometimes. Okay, that's all the way around. So I'll just join with a slip stitch at the top of the first one. I'll use this one here, or whatever fits. There we go. So I'll pull up on that so you guys can see that. So that's, I like this. So that's single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. That closes in the back, so it's definitely not going to want to slip out the button. And those 2 holes are easy to see. So I like that. I think that's enough. So now all I want to do is fasten off. I'm not turning this into a pendant. In the original video, I showed how you could also turn it into a pendant, which is kind of fun. I also don't feel like this needs to be cinched shut. So I'm just going to fasten off. I'm already thinking ahead to the one I want to make next. So I'm snipping my thread. I'm just going to fasten off, and then I'm going to make sure that's nice and tight. I'm going to weave it in through some of the stitches at the back, and then if there's anything kind of left over, I'm going to just trim the tail, because this is so small and so tight, it's not going to want to unravel, and this isn't something that's going to wind up in the washing machine getting jostled around. So I don't have to worry about like a tail coming undone. Ding, ding, ding. Hello, Melissa. Melissa's been a member for 8 months. Thank you, Melissa. With a membership milestone, says, I love watching you work on your projects. Thank you. So thank you for what you do. What's your favorite go-to comfort type of project? Oh, well, granny squares are I need to just sit down and do something and not think about it. Closely followed by dishcloth. So if I just need to like sit down and make something because I don't know what else to do with myself, granny squares and dishcloths. But I love to make hats, and I love to make fingerless gloves, and I love to make bags and baskets. Yeah, hats, then fingerless gloves, then baskets and bags. Baskets, bags are kind of half and half. That's if I really want to like, I want to play with a nice color of yarn. I just want to think about the project I'm doing. If I don't want to think, then it's granny squares and dishcloths. And granny squares and dishcloths, I can never have too many granny squares because I'm always turning them into something else. I think my problem, though, is always thinking, okay, I should make a whole bunch of the same kind of granny square so that down the road, if I need, usually you need a bunch if you're making like a blanket or a sweater or something. I'll have a bunch that actually all match each other. That's probably where I run into problems because I want to try different granny squares all the time. Okay, so I'm going to weave in my tail here. I really like, I mean, I know you hear me say it a lot. Like, I really do enjoy dishcloths, and I know that sounds like so boring, but they're so cute. They're such a nice way to like perk up your kitchen or perk up somebody else's. Mister, what are you ding-dinging about?
We have a question from Crystal regarding the current pattern.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can see it. Crystal, Jayda, please make an update on the button cover pattern, please. This one looks different. So the only difference I made with this one, so the crochet covered button tutorial that we've linked below is essentially this one. The only difference I've made is that I added a row of single crochet just to make it a little bit bigger to go around this button because this button's a bit bigger. But this is exactly the same pattern. And the only thing I didn't change, or the only thing I didn't do this time was the option to make a little loop to turn it into like a pendant. I just finished it off. But in the tutorial, I think I mentioned just finishing it off. So this is the same as that one. I wonder if you're... Mister, did you just put up the photo of the original tutorial?
Yes.
Okay.
Put it back up?
Yeah, put it back up for a second. This is, so yeah, like I say, we linked it in the description box down below, and we've got a pattern for this up in the Etsy shop now. We also have we turned a button into a flower. That's another one. But this is the old one from like 2017. Which I haven't done in a while. So like I say, the only difference I made here is I added a row of single crochet just to give it a little bit more, just to give it a little more to the edging to go around the corner or to go around the edge of the button, because this is a slightly larger button. But other than that, exactly the same pattern. And so I think I'm just going to weave this little tail in a little bit. And then I'm going to try something a little bit different. If my eyesight holds out. All right, I think that's in. Okay. I'm just taking the threaded tail and I'm just like literally threading it through some of the other stitches. Nothing fancy. I'm going to trim that now. There we go. So, there is the finished button.
Get that right up close to the camera.
That is the finished button. This button is a little bit wider in diameter than the original buttons, so I added a row of single crochet after the first row of half double crochet. I also could have made that second row double crochet instead of half double crochet, just because this is a wider button. So if you are experimenting with different button sizes, just keep in mind that your row 2 could be smaller or like a shorter or a taller stitch. I used half double crochet in the original tutorial. You could make it a double crochet if you needed it a little bit more. I could have made this double crochet, or you can add an extra row of single crochet like I did, which is basically making up for the difference in size. Or if it's a smaller button, you could use a row of just single crochet in row 2. So row 2's stitch size can vary. If it's a really wide button or your tension is really small, you could even make row 2 treble crochet or extended half double crochet if you wanted to. Then you want to close it in. So the second you start decreasing, that starts to close it in around the corner of the button. Get that first row of decrease in, then stick your button in, and then one more row of decrease. And you can either cinch up the circle at the back if you feel you need it, or leave it like I did. So there we go. Now, I want to try something else. So I'm just going to put this aside. I want to use the green, and I want to use it against like a lighter color. So let me just find, oh, that's a cool button. That is ugly. Oh, wait a minute. So I'm going to use this dark blue button and the bright white, so that the white really shows up and the dark blue is less obvious. So forget the green. Yes, Pamela! Member for 7 months. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Mr. InStitches, for the ding ding. Pamela says, almost 3 months, thumbs up surgery post-op. Oh, 3 months post-op on thumb surgery. Maybe 1 more week back to crochet. Thanks for the Thursday live. I hope you're healing nicely. If they've told you to do little exercises, make sure you do them, because you don't want to lose any of your flexibility in your thumbs. And if they've told you not to move it, then don't move it. But remember, start in slow. Anytime you guys, like if you sprain something or you break something or you have surgery or something, you know, like it's a slow kind of comeback. But whenever you get back into that tiny little dexterity work like crochet, remember to take it easy. I have to remind myself to do that sometimes, because if I have a bit of an arthritic flare-up, I have to remember to take it easy. Christine, thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Okay, I'm going to try something a little different this time, gang. So same hook, same size thread. This is a 10 weight crochet thread. I'm going to start with a chain 6, just like I did the last time. So I'm going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to chain 6. I like the idea of actually starting with a classic granny square look instead. So I'm going to start with a classic granny square. I'm going to turn a granny square mini into a cover of a button. That's the idea. So I'm going to start with a chain 6.
Whoa. Gonna make it like a little sleeve?
I'm gonna make a little, so start with a chain 6 ring like the original one, and now a classic granny square. So chain 3 counts as a double crochet, 2 more double crochet, that's a shell, chain 2, shell, chain 2, shell. So classic granny square start. I might even get in 2 rows, because this is a pretty big button too. It's not quite as wide in diameter as the original one that I just used, but it's an inch for sure. 2.5 centimeters, maybe a little more than that. And I'm using a shorter stitch up front. So I'm making a super miniature granny square. If Masha's still here, she knows all about this. Masha's been using crochet thread and making, actually she's been using sewing thread, and she's been crocheting super micro tiny stuff. It's so cool. She's got me all excited. I want to try and make super tiny stuff too without going blind.
Would you recommend this stitch idea for newbies?
For newbies? Yes. If you are new to crocheting with thread, so I'm going to assume if you're new, you've tried crocheting with yarn, and you've got maybe, you know how to do the double crochet, even the treble, just the basic stitches, nothing super fancy. And you want to try crocheting with thread, and the idea of working on something like, you know, you go, oh, thread crochet, and you type that into the internet, and it's like, make an entire tablecloth. Look at these floor-to-ceiling curtains. Yeah, no, nobody wants to go into something that huge. It's super intimidating. Doilies are really pretty, but that might be something that, like, you want to work up to. These tiny little crochet thread projects, like covering a button, it's like 4 rows of crochet. So if you can commit to 4 simple little rows of crochet, maybe 5 or 6 at the max, it's good. It teaches you patience for working small. It gets you comfortable using that tiny hook and the super small thread. It gets you used to starting something small. All projects are going to start out small, even if you're doing like a curtain or something. And then you don't get bored. You know, you get it done quickly. You kind of go, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. So you get used to the feel of everything being small. You kind of change how you have to sort of act with your tension. It's a good little learning curve. So yeah, I recommend this for beginners because it's a good way to learn how to get comfortable using thread and tiny hooks. All right, chain 2, join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. So this is one super tiny start to a granny square. Can you guys see this? I'll just hold it off my hook. Can you see that? Is that close enough? Yeah. Super tiny.
We can see it. It's
it is
very small.
Okay. So on top of the button, it doesn't even cover. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking cute. Okay. Very, very small. So I think what I'm going to do is another proper row of a granny square. So I'm literally going to slip stitch across into the chain 2 space like I like to do with a classic granny square. So I slip stitch across the next 2 double crochet and into the chain 2 space, just like a regular old granny square. I'm going to chain 3, 2 double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 3 more double crochet into the space, just like a granny square. So it's like shell, chain 2, shell. I will not chain 1 between shells on the side. I think I'll leave. Will I leave it out or will I do it? Do I need it? I will. I will add it. So I'm going to stick to my typical classic granny square pattern. Shell, chain 2, shell, chain 1, and then into the next corner, shell, chain 2, shell, chain 1, or 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1 in each corner, just like I'm making a tiny wee granny square. I love tiny things. When I have the patience to do them, they're a lot of fun. I am looking at a lace cover for a jar or candies or fairy lights. Yes, I have that too. Have I showed you guys that? I love doing those. Do I have any right behind me? I do. I do have one right behind me. Quick pause. See if I can pull this out without breaking anything. Come here, you. Yeah. So this is an old olive jar that looks like a barrel, which was so cute I had to keep it. And I love to crochet little covers for the lids of the jars because the lid of the jar itself isn't super pretty. Obviously, it's got like the name of the logo or whatever on it. But I do that a lot. Just because it's cute. I think it makes them look cute in the craft room. I suppose if you do actual proper preserves and you're giving them as gifts, because why wouldn't you? Preserved food is like such a nice gift. That is a really nice little thing to add on top of it. Just a little cover for your lid. And then, of course, I like to weave a little bit of ribbon through it. So, yeah. Nothing fancy. It's kind of like making a doily. Oh my gosh. Masha! Hi, Masha! Thanks for mentioning my micro crochet. It's awesome, really. Hope we can share pics with each other in the community soon. Here are a few pennies for the computer fund. Thank you so much, Masha.
Thank you.
And Robin. Hey, Robin. Robin with a super chat. Thank you so much, Robin. Robin says, can't tell you how much I needed this. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, Jayda, for all the inspiration. Just finished a crochet Christmas pillow while watching using a combo of about 5 patterns I learned from you. Awesome. See, Christmas is never very far away if you're a crafter. I think I'm about to lose my... I gotta fix my thing here. This is my cottage... What is that? Cottage crochet? The cottage... Cottage kerchief? I did it all using
Kerchief?
black size 3 or 5 crochet thread. It's very comfortable. I like it, but it's a little slippery. All right. Okay, thank you guys very much. I'll put that away later. Yeah, I should probably do a tutorial for that. The list of tutorials is like as long as my leg at this point. Okay, let me just finish this second row of the miniature... The micro crochet, as Masha says, the micro crochet granny square here. And then I will turn it into a button cover. So this is just 2 rows of a regular granny square, the classic shell stitch type. I am chaining 1 in between shells along the side because I think it could use it. And so now I'm thinking, if you're making a granny square sweater, then you could take old buttons and make miniature granny squares to cover them with. How cute would that be? Okay, so here is the granny square. And it's so small. Dee-dee. That is so darn cute.
Adorable.
Yeah, that's really, really cute. Okay, so that is a little bit bigger than my button, which is fine because now I'm going to start decreasing. I think I'm going to do, how many stitches have I got all the way around? This is row 2 of a classic granny. Same number of stitches as all the granny squares in our magical cupboard series. So that tells me that row 2 would be 7 stitches plus the chain 2 corners. So I've got 28 stitches plus 4 chain 2 corners. So that's an even number. So I will do half double crochet, 2 stitches together all the way around. Oh my goodness. Fortune Knit Creations, that's a great name. Thank you for the super chat. Says, just founded you recently, toy. Just found you recently, toy, and I have so many videos to catch up on. I loved your style. Just found you recently. Okay, just found you recently. Hi there. Welcome to the community. And yes, we've got, holy cow, how many videos have we got and tutorials?
Well, we have almost 1,000 videos, but tutorials, I'd say maybe...
Around 600?
No, it's way more than that.
Is it more than that?
I'd say about 800.
Maybe 800? Oh my gosh. If you're interested in a particular project, just type in Jayda InStitches and the name of the project you're thinking of, and we probably have one at this point.
Most likely.
And Pamela, hello Pamela, has gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Pamela. Congratulations to Sherry who won it. Welcome to the family. Thank you very much for the support, you guys. Okay, I'm going to do the 3rd row of the classic pattern for the button cover, whereby I chain 2 to begin. That counts as a half double crochet, and I'm going to half double crochet, 2 stitches together, half double crochet, 2, all the way around. And I'm going to include the chain 2 corner spaces and the chain 1 spaces. So I'm going to treat everything like a stitch. And I feel like that will close things in enough for me. Because that's all I'm doing right now. All I'm interested in doing is just decreasing now as I go around. So half double crochet, 2 stitches together, half double crochet, and I'm treating stitches and spaces alike as the same thing. And I think that'll work. Oh my gosh, this is so small. There's a decrease. Yep, this is working. Oh, that is so fun when it works. And I'm not terribly interested in actual stitch count. I just want to make sure that this is like going to work out relatively neatly, which it looks like it's going to. I'm turning it into a bit of a bowl shape. That is a stitch. Get in there. Okay. All right, almost on the decrease row. That worked out. Okay, how do you like that? I love it when a good plan comes together. Anybody? Okay. I'm going to join the slip stitch to the top of the chain 2. And that started to close it in. So now you can sort of see that little, it's sort of closing it in. So now I'm going to slip my button into it. Oh my gosh, come here. Aha, aha, aha. Okay. I feel you have to kind of slide it to get in. There we go. Oh my gosh. I did it. I did it. It's in. Oh my gosh. It looks so cute. Holy smokes. Okay. Ding ding, mister.
I'm just celebrating.
Oh, you're just
cuteness.
celebrating? Okay. Let me show you what this looks like, guys. So the white on the navy blue, obviously that's a nice contrast. I hope you can see that. That initial granny square in the middle really stands out. I think that looks so stinking cute.
That looks great.
That's a granny square covered button.
And it's wrapped around the edges. Can you come a little closer? Yeah, that looks awesome. You're getting a big approval from Masha.
I love this. It's a granny square covered button.
Oh my goodness.
So next granny square sweater has to have granny square covered buttons on it. What was that?
I had my mic on mute that whole time. I literally just told everyone the secret of life, and my mic was muted.
You do that all the time.
I do that a lot. Every time I get into it. Everyone is loving the new little pattern.
It's a granny square covered button.
I love it. Let's see it again.
Okay, all right. I'm just so excited here.
Let me see if, hold it a little further back. If I zoom in, maybe it won't blur up. Let's see. Nope.
A shawl with buttons. Yes. Yes, Claire. Sherry, sorry. My eyes, I can't see anything anymore.
That's it. We're ordering your glasses.
I've got to look over them
tomorrow.
Yes, this is a granny square covered button. I am so excited now. My brain is exploding. I want to make a granny square sweater.
Hat.
I want to make a new granny square cardigan with granny square covered buttons. This is so great. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So, I will definitely write this up. This is so simple. Everybody should have this one too. This is so much fun. I might shoot this as a quick little mini tutorial as well, just so y'all can see it properly. I will do that over the weekend because this is just too darn cute. Okay, so last row, I'm going to chain one, single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around because I want to close this in. So I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. I'm not too concerned about stitch count. If you're working tiny and you get all the way around, especially on a project like this where stitch count doesn't really matter, and you're like, oh, did I, go past the start of the row?
We would like to know if you could please write it up also.
Yes. I will also write it up. Absolutely, absolutely. I will do that as I film, so I can include a couple photographs with it too. Oh my gosh, this is so darn cute. And
crochet quick fix, says Anna.
Yes, Anna, it will be a crochet
quick fix coming up.
I will have that available for you guys ASAP. Tomorrow is the new granny square pattern.
I'll make sure we're stocked with snacks, ice cream, and coffee.
What was that, sweetheart?
I'll make sure we're stocked up with snacks.
Yes. Come on, you. Now,
Vicky would like to know, how would you attach it to a project?
So, there's 2 ways you can do it. If it's a button with holes in it, why is this giving me such? There we go. So, like this one has actual holes in it, the 2 little holes. So, what I would do is I would sew it on like you would a normal button, but while I'm getting to the front, I'm going to make sure that I bring my needle out through that little tiny hole in the middle and then back down through the hole before I go through the other button. That way I'm not interfering with any of the crochet, and you really won't see the thread. It will, so you can easily get to these 2 button holes at the back, but you're always coming out and kind of going back through that middle ring of crochet while still using the holes on the button. This one has a shank at the back. So crochet covered buttons with an actual, like a solid fronted button that has that little post or the shank at the back. Those ones you just sew on as normal because the crochet won't cover it. And if you're, a little unsure about using buttons with holes in them, then go for the buttons with the shank at the back, because as soon as I have this little row of single crochet 2 stitches together done, that's it. I'm not doing any more. And you'll easily be able to access the shank at the back, so you won't interfere with any of your crochet. And you can just treat it like a regular old button. I am far too excited about this. A granny square covered crochet. A granny square covered button. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. One more. No, actually, I don't need to do that. I will just join the row with a slip stitch to the first single crochet 2 stitches together that I
Robin
made.
says you just broke the crochet internet.
All right, I'm going to fasten off, and like in the original tutorial, so there I go. I've just finished single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. I don't care what the stitch count is. It doesn't matter. All I'm interested in is just closing in that circle, and that's pretty close, but just because it wanted to slide around a little on me, I'm going to just fasten off. In the original tutorial, I thread up the thread, I weave it in and out of those last few stitches in the last row and just cinch ever so slightly. I'm going to do that now. Not that it super needs it, but you can sort of see that shank is really accessible. I just want to close it in a little bit more.
Do you have any square buttons? Because that would look really cute on square buttons. It's been mentioned in the chat a couple times here. Huh?
I don't. But now I have to go find square.
Now we have to go get you some square buttons.
I need square buttons and neon crochet thread.
This list is getting a little bit too long here.
Sherry, thank you for picking up some patterns. Oh, and Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Member for 7 months. Thank you so much. Says, could I turn your stuffed strawberry into earrings if I use crochet thread? Yes. If you're a member, we have a video on super small little crochet strawberries. That member's video for the tiny little crochet strawberries would probably be perfect made with crochet floss, because the larger strawberries is a bit big. So look for the members only strawberry tutorial we did, and that size down with crochet thread and a small hook. Super stinking cute earrings, absolutely. Thread and hook, I would recommend embroidery floss because it's nice and soft. And it's like what I would consider like a 1, maybe a 3 crochet thread size, unless you have access to a size 1 or a size 3 fashion weight thread in a nice rich red. And of course some green too. And same hook, maybe 1.75, 1.5, maybe 2 millimeter. These are all millimeter sizes. Whatever you're comfortable with using, because you don't have to worry about, like, you don't really have to worry about your tension. If you have trouble making tighter stitches, you know what, it's different at the thread level. Use the hook size that you're comfortable with. Anywhere within the 2 millimeter to 1.5 millimeter range, that'd be fine. And if it's too small, you can go up. 2.25 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, that's okay too. Let me just get this threaded into my needle. I need a miniature yarn needle with a miniature loop eye, because this is a little tricky to thread up.
We're discussing butter pecan ice cream over here.
That sounds amazing. Hey, we have ice cream.
We do.
We do.
You want to eat one on camera?
No, I don't want to eat one on camera. How rude. No. I totally forgot.
I was going to bring you one earlier, but I thought, oh, she's not going to want to shove ice cream in her face.
So I'm just going to weave that needle in and out, in and out, in and out through the stitches in the last row. And then just cinch just ever so slightly, just to make it a little bit tinier.
Pecan. I did not say pecan wrong.
I can't remember.
It is pecan. Like a tin can.
Like a tin can. Pecan.
Are you one of those, Audrey, are you one of those pecan people?
Okay, so.
Pecan, pecant.
If I cinch it, you can see how it closes that circle into just about completely around the shank of the button, which is nice. And it has the, oh, this is so cute, I can't even. It has the added benefit of stretching it a little bit. So if you felt that your button cover was a little on the loose side, it will tighten it up a little bit around the edge of your button. Granny square covered button. I love this so much. Oh my gosh. I'm going to just continue to cinch, or I should say weave the tail through some of the stitches, and then I'll just knot it and fasten off. Oh my gosh, a granny square covered button. I'm sure like several of my great aunts are kind of rolling their eyes at me going, I made 1,000
Some
of
are
those
rolling
young
their
ladies.
eyes and others are approving, nodding in approval.
Like, that's nothing new. I know it's nothing new. It doesn't matter. I've never done it before and I love it. All right. So I'm just going to make a tiny little itty bitty knot and then weave the tail in a little bit longer or a little bit less. It's the back of a button. You're never going to see the back of the button. So it doesn't have to be 100% super neat and tidy back there. You just don't want your threads coming out. That's all. All right, so I'm going to trim this right there. Okay. One granny square covered button. Love how that worked out. And the back is neat enough. Cinched it shut around that little shank. But that is less important than the front. Granny square covered buttons. Now I have to make a whole bunch of these. This is just so darn cute. I love how that initial square really shows off. Oh my gosh. You make the first row in one color and then you switch to a completely different color and that will just make that square pop. Oh my goodness. Okay. I will probably make up a couple more of those. I'll post a picture in the community tab a little later. Yes. Can you make in different colors, Sherry? Absolutely. See, great minds think alike. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm going to make a couple in different colors. I'm going to try and do what I've done here. So I'm going to try and make the button and the yarn very contrasting colors so they really stand out. Like the white stands out on that navy blue button. That was an ugly button. In my opinion, it was an ugly button. I just made it my favorite button in the collection. Like,
can we see that up close, please? I
don't worry.
like it.
I'll take photographs. We'll post a good photo.
Can we see them side by side? Because they have a completely different look.
Totally.
Yeah, look at that. One looks like a wagon wheel. The other one looks like a pecan.
A pecan? A pecan?
Pecan if you can't. There's some trolling going on here in the chat.
Those are two very different looking buttons.
Yeah, look how different.
So simple though to change up what you're doing.
Completely different look.
And it's basically the same concept. So I will take a good close-up picture of these. We'll post it in the community post after the live stream. And then I will definitely do a quick fix video on the granny square covered button because I absolutely have to now. I'll write up the pattern for that. And I'm going to try one in different colors. So I'm going to try like a 2-color granny square covered button just to sort of see what that looks like. And I'll post pictures of that too. So in fact, I'll probably have I'll have those to show off in the video. And of course the video will be nice clear imagery so you can really see what I'm doing close up. That'll be this weekend. Yay. But tomorrow, it's a granny square tomorrow. Not a granny square that looks anything like that though.
Nope.
Can you use a thin yarn or embroidery thread? It says wiggle butt, and I just realized I was wiggle butting. So that's absolutely. If you've got like a super fine sock weight yarn, on a big enough button, that's fine too, because sock weight can be very, very thin. But embroidery floss is great if you have access to embroidery floss, and it's soft. Embroidery floss is so soft because it's cotton and it's not mercerized, so it feels nice on your fingers. So if you find working with crochet thread is a little bit harsh, then try embroidery floss. It's nice and soft. And it comes in so many pretty colors. What else? What else? What else?
We have a very important poll. Please take part in the poll.
I bet you it's
either
pecan
on the
thing.
top of the chat or on the bottom of the chat box.
Yes, Anna, I have homework after the live stream.
We have a lot of homework. We have to finish. There's some finishing touches on tomorrow's video.
Yes, we have a few finishing touches for tomorrow's video.
We have to order Jayda glasses.
I have to order my new glasses. I have
Otherwise, she's gonna start walking in the walls.
I have some more buttons I need to crochet.
We need to purchase some square buttons.
I have to find square buttons and neon crochet thread. I am so excited about that. And
we have to eat ice cream. Thank you, Masha. Yes.
Ice cream. That's
actually that should be on the top of the list.
That's the top of the list.
Let's start with the ice cream.
We'll start with the ice cream. Yeah. And tomorrow's video will be published around 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I say around because we're...
And that's going from now forward.
Yeah.
Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern is
Friday
going to be
videos,
the rough time.
Friday videos get published at 1 p.m. Eastern, and the Monday live streams are also at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we've got kind of a consistency going.
No. Monday live streams are 11 a.m. Eastern.
Oh, yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern. Oh, my gosh.
We could change it to 1 so that no one gets confused.
I suppose. You know what? Maybe we'll do a poll about that after the fact.
Let's do a poll on the community tab.
We'll do a poll on the community tab.
We'll ask everyone.
Would that work better for some people?
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll do that.
Boy, I better start writing this down. This list is getting way too long.
This is a long list of things, yeah. Okay, well, guys, I think we're going to call it there. The light is getting darker and darker and darker, and I cannot see anymore, so... I have to put on some extra floodlights.
You did a great job. That was very fine. It's tough crocheting with
Renee,
thread.
welcome to Alpaca. Thanks for joining the family. Yes, I'm going to take some photographs. I'm going to go in depth on this on the weekend, so I'm going to do up a quick fix tutorial for you guys. So nice and close up so you can see what I'm doing. That way, if you want to make one of these granny square covered buttons yourself, you can. I will be investigating square buttons and neon crochet thread. I have to have some neon crochet thread now. I have to. And I'm thinking is, like, how big can I make these buttons? Like, I'm just thinking, I love the idea of making a granny square sweater, like another granny square cardigan, kind of like the Bee-Boo cardigan, or the Booby cardigan.
The Booby
cardigan.
You gotta say it properly.
Renee!
Booby.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Renee with a little super chat there. Thank you so much. Hi, Renee. No message, just a super chat. Thank you. Yeah, so I think I'm thinking another granny's cardigan, but with like granny square covered buttons would just be so cute. So I've
seen giant oversized buttons before.
I have some. I haven't got any square ones, but like that's a big button. That's like 2 inches in diameter, so that's a big one. That's not even my biggest. But I am gonna, you know what? This would let me make an even bigger granny square.
Dun dun dun.
The weekend. I will have things to show you on the weekend.
Okay, we need to start shaving some stuff off this list. It's getting too long.
Ah, there it is.
We have a new channel member.
A really big one. Fortune Knit Creations. Welcome to the family. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much. I think that's the biggest button that I have right now. No, I used that one.
It's not big enough.
I had a really huge purple button that I used on a project. So
we need it to fill the screen. I want to see it fill the screen.
I need a bigger button. I think you made me some big buttons.
We could make some.
You made me some.
Yeah, but they're not huge. It has to be at least 2 feet in diameter.
I could make one of those. Maybe I will also just make a giant button. I have buttons on the brain. Okay.
Okay, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, because the list is too long.
The list is getting way too long. We were just going to live stream for an hour. That didn't work out.
Oh my gosh. How do you make buttons? You know what? I will create some buttons, and if it works out, we'll do a tutorial on that too.
Rustic buttons that I made.
Yeah, you made me some really nice wooden buttons. I will play with those too. Because those would be perfect.
So let's end this poll, and then we'll wrap up the stream.
Okay. There's the poll. Well, pecan, 52%. Pecan, 41%. Peanut, 6%.
I voted for peanut.
Pecan. So a lot of you say pecan, not pecan. I say pecan. Pecan pie.
I say pecan.
Pecans.
I've heard pecan.
I've heard people say pecan.
And I've heard peanut.
Like they put the emphasis on the P, like pecan, as opposed to pecan, which I guess when you say it like that.
Pecan like Genghis Khan.
Really awful. Pecan.
I wonder if Genghis Khan liked pecans.
I like them both. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out on a sort of an impromptu Thursday afternoon live stream. Had some fun covering buttons. Have a whole new pattern now. I just love it when we all hang out like this, and this kind of little spark of creativity kind of just blast through us. Now I'm super excited. So this weekend I will create a crochet quick fix tutorial for you on the granny square covered button, because how stinking cute is that? We'll write up the pattern too. We have the original tutorial on the original covered button that I did. We already have that linked in the description box, so if you want to give that a try, try it. If you're new to thread and tiny hooks, try it. It's a super small little project. It gets you used to working small, and it's not that much of a commitment. It's only a few rows, and then you have something kind of neat afterwards. And it's also fun if you've got like thread lying around. People go, oh, you crochet? Here's some crochet thread, because they had it and they didn't know what to do with it. So a lot of us wind up with that in our collection, and it's a fun way to use some of it up. We will see you tomorrow, about 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon, for the Granny's Magical Cupboard Granny Square, the new pattern in the series. So that's a tutorial. It's a pre-filmed tutorial, so it's not live. It's a regular video on a Friday. It'll be up 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see you there for that. And have a great weekend. We'll try and get that pattern put together for you. Kathy?
And binge on pecans this weekend.
I'm going to go have some ice cream.
Eat a lot of pecans.
Yum, 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 yum.
Don't eat those pecans, because they're not as tasty. The pecan tastes better than the pecan.
My troll husband, everybody.